Let me guess. You're working. Money's coming in. And yet somehow, at the end of every month, your bank account looks like it hasn't heard about any of that. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're just making a handful of money mistakes that almost everyone in their 20s makes. Mistakes nobody actually warns you about because your school was too busy teaching you about the mitochondria. I'm going to walk you through the 7 biggest ones. And here's the thing. None of these require you to earn more money. Every single fix is something you can start doing today with the exact income you have right now. So stick around, because mistake number 4 is the one that quietly keeps people broke into their 30s and 40s, and almost nobody sees it coming. Let's get into it. You keep telling yourself you'll start investing later, when you earn more, when things settle down, when you finally feel like a real adult. Here's the brutal truth. The single most powerful asset you own in your 20s isn't money, it's time. And every year you wait, you're throwing away the one thing you can never buy back. Let me show you why this matters. Imagine you invest a couple $100s a month, starting at 22. Thanks to compound growth, your returns earning their own returns, that money snowballs for decades. Now imagine your friend waits until they're 32 to start. Same monthly amount, same everything. In a lot of realistic scenarios, that 10-year head start leaves you with hundreds of thousands of dollars more by retirement. Not because you invested more, because you started earlier. You don't need to be a stock market genius. You don't need to pick the next big company. A simple, low-cost index fund that just tracks the whole market is enough for most people to build serious wealth over time. The magic isn't in being clever. It's in starting now and not touching it. So the fix is simple. Start this week. Even if it's tiny. Even if it's the price of one dinner out. Just begin. Because later is the most expensive word in personal finance. Number 2, you get a raise, a new job, a little bump in pay. And what happens? Suddenly, the nicer apartment makes sense. The upgraded phone makes sense. The slightly fancier everything makes sense. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's the reason people who make good money still feel broke. Because no matter how much comes in, they've quietly trained their expenses to rise right along with it. More income, same empty account. Here's what nobody tells you. Staying broke isn't really about how little you make. It's about the gap between what you earn and what you spend. If that gap never grows, you never get ahead, no matter how big the paycheck gets. The fix is one of the most powerful habits you can build in your 20s. Next time your income goes up, don't let your lifestyle absorb all of it. Take at least half of every raise and send it straight to savings or investments before you ever get used to spending it. Live like you got a small raise. Invest like you got a big one. Do this consistently, and future you will be quietly, ridiculously wealthy. Number 3, you're living with zero buffer, no cushion, no backup. Everything's fine, right up until it isn't. Your car breaks down. You lose a job. A medical bill shows up out of nowhere. And because you've got nothing set aside, you do the only thing you can. You reach for a credit card. And just like that, one bad week turns into months, sometimes years, of debt. An emergency fund is the thing that stops a bad day from becoming a financial disaster. It's not exciting, it won't make you rich, but it's the foundation everything else sits on. Without it, you're one flat tire away from the whole thing collapsing. Start with a small goal. Just $1,000 set aside in a separate savings account you don't touch. Then build it up over time until you've got 3 to 6 months of basic expenses. Keep it somewhere boring and slightly annoying to access, so you're not tempted to raid it for concert tickets. This one fund will save you more stress than almost anything else on this list. Number 4. This is the big one. The quiet killer I warned you about. Credit card debt. Specifically, carrying a balance month to month and only paying the minimum. Here's what's actually happening when you do that. Credit cards can charge you north of 20% interest a year. That's not a typo. While your investments might grow around 7 or 8% a year if you're lucky, your credit card debt is growing at 3 times that speed. In the wrong direction. You're basically running up a down escalator. And the minimum payment? That's a trap dressed up as a favor. It's designed to keep you paying for years while barely touching what you actually owe. You could pay every single month, on time, and still be in debt a decade later. That's not an accident. That's the business model. So here's the fix, and it's non-negotiable. High-interest debt gets attacked first, before you invest, before almost anything else. Throw every extra dollar at it. Pay way more than the minimum. If you've got multiple cards, knock out the highest interest rate first, then roll that payment into the next one. No investment on earth reliably beats the guaranteed return of wiping out a 20% debt. Clear this, and it's like giving yourself a raise. Number 5. Ask yourself right now, how much did you spend last month? Not a guess, the real number. And on what exactly? If you can't answer that, you're not alone. But that blind spot is costing you. Because money you don't track is money that just evaporates. A little here on food delivery, a little there on stuff you forgot you bought. It never feels like much in the moment, but add it up over a year and it's genuinely shocking. You don't need a complicated spreadsheet or some intense budgeting system you'll quit in a week. You just need awareness. For 1 month, track every single thing you spend. Use an app. Use your notes. Whatever. The goal isn't to feel guilty, it's to actually see the truth. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll spot the subscriptions you forgot about, the habits quietly draining you, the money that could be going toward your future instead of vanishing into nothing. You can't fix a leak you can't see. Tracking is how you turn the lights on. Number 6, and this one stings a little. You're spending money you don't have to buy things you don't need, to impress people who genuinely do not care. The designer stuff, the car that's way too expensive for where you're at, the constant upgrades, all to project an image of success you haven't actually built yet. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Real wealth is quiet. The people who look the richest are very often the ones drowning the hardest, buried in payments just to keep up appearances. Meanwhile, the people actually building wealth, you'd usually never guess. They're driving the normal car and quietly investing the difference. Every dollar you spend trying to look rich is a dollar that can't be used to actually become rich. That's the trade you're making, whether you realize it or not. The fix isn't to be cheap or miserable. It's to spend on what genuinely matters to you and ruthlessly cut what's just for show. Buy things because you want them, not because you want to be seen with them. Impress your future self, not a stranger on the internet. Number 7, and this is the one that quietly determines everything else. You obsess over saving a few dollars on coffee, but ignore the biggest asset you'll ever own, your own ability to earn. Here's the reality. Cutting expenses can only take you so far. You can only trim so much. But your income? That has no ceiling. The fastest way to change your entire financial life in your 20s isn't clipping coupons. It's becoming more valuable. Learning a skill that pays. Getting better at the job you have. Building something on the side. Reading the book. Taking the course. Having the awkward conversation about a raise. The best investment you can make in your 20s is in the person who has to live the rest of your life. You. A skill that adds a few $100s a month to your income will out-earn almost any saving hack you'll ever find. So spend on growth. Bet on yourself. It pays the best interest of anything on this list. So, quick recap. Start investing now instead of later. Don't let your lifestyle eat every raise. Build that emergency fund. Kill high-interest debt fast. Actually track your spending. Stop paying to look rich. And invest in yourself above all. None of these require you to win the lottery or land some dream salary. They just require you to start today with what you already have. Pick just one, the one that hit a little too close to home, and fix it this week. Because your future is built by the small decisions you make right now, in your 20s, when time is still on your side. If this helped, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you in that one. Take care of your money, and it'll take care of you.